Day 7 of the hush money trial. Here's Trump arriving at court and speaking to the press.
Mr. Trump, if you conspire to fake electors in Arizona, Mr. Trump, what do you think about Harvey Weinstein's conviction being overturned?
Thank you very much. As you probably have heard, some very big things have happened, but the biggest seems to be that the GDP just announces all the way down to 1.6%, and it's heading south. It's going to get worse. Gas prices in California were just also announced at $7.60. Gasoline is going way up. Energy costs are going way up. And the stock market is, in a sense, crashing. The numbers are very bad. This is Bidenomics. It's catching up with him. It's lucky that it's catching up before he leaves office as opposed to after he leaves office. But this is Bidenomics. It's destroying our country at the border, destroying our country with other countries. They no longer respect the United States. I think the dollar's in tremendous trouble in terms of currency. This is going to be the standard, and it's going to be the standard with me. With Biden, you're going to lose. The dollar is the standard. That'll be like losing the biggest war we've ever lost. And it's a shame, but it's all the way down to 1.6, and I'll tell you, nobody thought that would be possible, and it looks like it's heading down from there. So that's very bad news. This morning I met with great people, construction workers, some Teamsters, and other unions, and some not in unions, and we had a fantastic morning. You were there, some of the press was there. Great show of support. As you know, some tremendous polls came out over the last 24 hours where we're up in all of the swing states and up nationally. But one came out where we're down very little in New York. New York traditionally isn't won by Republicans anymore. It used to be 50 years ago, but not anymore. And I think we have a good chance of winning New York. We're going to give it a big play. We're going to the South Bronx to do a rally. We're going to be doing a rally at Madison Square Garden, we believe. We think we're signing Madison Square Garden to do it. We're going to have a big rally honoring the police and honoring the firemen and everybody. Honoring a lot of people, including teachers, by the way. We're honoring teachers because teachers have been very badly maligned with some very poor leadership. But we'll be honoring the people that make New York work, and we'll be doing a number of large rallies. It'll be very exciting. But we think we have a real good chance of winning New York. And again, the swing states, we're leading in every one of them, and by a lot, not just by a little, by a lot. But the big news today, I think, is the 1.6%. When you look at 1.6 GDP, that's a number that nobody thought was possible. That's a real bad number. And it looks like the projections are it's heading in the wrong direction. And that's why the stock market's down so big today. So in the meantime, I'm at this trial. My constitutional rights have been taken away from me. But every single expert, every legal scholar, every respected scholar has said this is no case. There is no case here. This is just a political witch hunt. Thank you very much.
How are you feeling about the Supreme Court argument, Mr. Trump? Are you able to do this in the argument today?
I think that the Supreme Court has a very important argument before it today. I would have loved to have been there, but this judge would not allow that to happen. I should be there, but he wouldn't allow it to happen. I think he puts himself above the Supreme Court, which is unfortunate, isn't it? But the argument on immunity is very important. The president has to have immunity. This has nothing to do with me. This has to do with a president in the future, for 100 years from now. If you don't have immunity, you're not going to do anything. You're going to become a ceremonial president. You're just going to be doing nothing. You're not going to take any of the risks, both good and bad. I mean, you're going to make some great decisions and save the country, and you're going to make some decisions which are unfortunate, but that's the way it is. But you're not going to do anything if you don't have immunity, because otherwise you're going to be prosecuted after you leave office for doing something like going into an area, going into a country, doing lots of things that you wouldn't be doing. And we don't want a ceremonial president. We have to have a real president. And assuming you have the right person, that can make a big difference. You saw that for 4 years when I was president. We were respected all over the world. We had the best economy we've ever had. Everything was good. We had no wars. We defeated ISIS. We had no wars. We had no nothing. But we were respected all over the world. And now it's a disgrace. We also, by the way, had the single best border ever in recorded history of our country. We had the best border ever. We built 571 miles of wall. We were going to build 200 more miles, far more than I said we were going to build. But we had a country that was respected, and now we have a country that's a joke. It's being laughed at all over the world. And you have riots at all the universities. The only place that's locked down is this courthouse because they don't want any supporters here. They don't want MAGA here. They don't want anybody. And this thing is locked down like a buttoned-up vest. And it shouldn't be. If they did the same lockdown in Columbia, NYU, and the colleges and universities, you'd have no problem whatsoever. But there you can put tents up. You can stay as long as you want. But this courthouse is locked down. There's not a person within 5 blocks. They have more police here than, and I call them New York's finest because that's what they are. And they don't want to be doing this either. They like to be straightening out conditions, and they'd like to be at the colleges and making sure that they don't have what's happening, because what's happening at the colleges is a disgrace. All over the world, people are laughing at us. This is the worst run country right now, probably anywhere, just about. You don't get much worse. We have a president who's a disaster. We have a president who's the worst president in the history of our country. All you have to do is look at the millions of people coming in from prisons, from mental institutions, and terrorists. They're coming in at levels we've never seen before. So I'm going to go in now and sit in front of a case, election interference. This is the way they think they're going to get elected. But I guess, based on what I'm looking at, it's driving up my poll numbers, not driving them down. Thank you very much.
What did you got the charges in Arizona, Mr. President? When was the last time you spoke with Mark Meadows? Does Boris still work for you?
Trump's hush money criminal trial in New York continues, with prosecutors claiming Trump has violated the gag order again. They've already accused him of 10 violations. Some of the new alleged violations are from his speeches right outside the courtroom and a statement when he claimed the jury is 95% Democrats. Then it was time for David Pecker, a former tabloid magazine publisher, to take the stand. Pecker has told the court that potentially damaging stories about Trump were bought and buried before the 2016 election as an agreement between friends. He says he learned of Stormy Daniels after a catch-and-kill scheme was used to bury the story of an affair with Playboy model Karen McDougal. After McDougal's story leaked, Pecker approved lying about the scheme, saying he was protecting Trump, himself, and the magazine. Pecker amended McDougal's contract, allowing her to speak to the press, which angered then-President Trump. Pecker said, quote, "The concern was the campaign," end quote. He went on to add that Trump did not mention worries about his family hearing the allegations. In order to prove Trump committed election interference, prosecutors will have to show that it was Trump's intent to cover up the hush money payments for the purposes of his campaign and not to shield his family from the alleged affair. David Pecker testifies that at a certain point, Karen McDougal sued him to get her life rights back. When she ultimately gave an interview to CNN's Anderson Cooper in 2018, Trump was angry, Pecker tells the court. He said he explained to Trump, who was the U.S. president at the time, that he had amended her contract to let her speak to the media, and Trump got, quote, aggravated. Trump couldn't understand why Pecker had amended the contract. Here's Trump leaving court and once again speaking to the press.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Today was breathtaking. This room, you saw what went on. It was breathtaking. And amazing testimony. This is a trial that should have never happened. This is a case that should have never been filed. And it was really an incredible day. Open your eyes. And we can't let this continue to happen to our country. On another matter, you know, the economy has just been reported to be doing very badly. The stock market's way down, and some horrible numbers came out, including very high numbers on inflation, and in particular gasoline at $7.50 in California. That usually leads the way. It's going to happen here too. And very importantly, as you look at the various colleges all over the country and beyond colleges, because it's happening in other areas too, you see what's happening on the front having to do with Palestine and Israel and protests and hate, anger. Biden is sending an absolutely horrible message. Horrible, horrible message. He has no idea how to message. He can't speak. He can't put two sentences together. He doesn't know what to do. This is not our president. This is somebody that shouldn't be doing what he's doing because he can't do it. He can't do it well. We're having protests all over. He was talking about Charlottesville. Charlottesville was a little peanut, and it was nothing compared, and the hate wasn't the kind of hate that you have here. This is tremendous hate, and we have a man that can't talk about it because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand what's going on with our country. He doesn't understand that all over the world we're being laughed at as a country because of him and his administration. And today we had, I hear, because I was forced to be here, and I'm glad I was because it was a very interesting day in a certain way, but the U.S. Supreme Court had a monumental hearing on immunity, and the immunity having to do with presidential immunity. And I think it was made clear, I hope it was made clear, that a president has to have immunity, or you don't have a president, or at most you can say it would be a ceremonial president. That's not what the founders had in mind. And they're not talking about ceremonial. We want presidents that can get things done and bring people together. So I heard the meeting was quite amazing, quite amazing. And the justices were on their game. So let's see how that all turns out. But again, I say presidential immunity, very powerful. Presidential immunity is imperative, or you practically won't have a country anymore. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What's your response to Arizona indictment yesterday? Well, immunity affects.
That wraps up Day 7. If you want more updates on this trial, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. I'll be back for Day 8.